Now PPT is visible to all.
No, sir.
Okay. Stop sharing. Now visible to all. Hello. Now visible to all. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Now PPT is visible to all.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Very good. It functions of an educational manager. Hello. Hello.
Again, sir.
हाँ अरे पीपीटी देखा जाउची
ना सर सिर्फ वॉलपेपर ही देखा होची पीडीएफ देखा होनी किछि
देखा जाउनी
नो सर
नो
आज्ञा ना सर देखा होनी
एबे देखा गला
Yes, sir.
now ppt is visible
यस सर
okay and in last class we have already discussed about the theories of management and hello and in last class we have already discussed about the theories of management basically theory of x management theory of y management and theory of z management and we also highlighted about the formal education informal education non-formal education and side by side we also discussed about the dimension of education or sectors of education just like pre-primary education primary education elementary education secondary education senior secondary education and tertiary or post secondary or we may call higher education system and we also highlighted the national policy of education recommended regarding the education structure higher education structure and with recommendation to the national policy of education 2020 am I audible to all
Yes, sir.
okay and ppt is visible to all
Again.
okay and today we are going to discuss another most important concept that is called the system theory of management that means we are working in the school we are working in the college or the university and itself school college and university also one kind of the system just like school is the miniature of the society it means within the society there are numbers of the systems are there are numbers of the subsystems are there and within the subsystem of the society school is the most important subsystem of the society and in this context we are going to discuss system theory of management it means the concept of system can be traced back to Aristotle who suggested that the whole is greater than sum of its parts that means whole is greater than sum of its parts. अर्थात जदि समाज रे आमे कहिबा स्कूल इज ए सिस्टम, कॉलेज इज ए सिस्टम, यूनिवर्सिटी इज ए सिस्टम, टेम्पल is a system, and culture is a system, then all these part are the micro concept, but whole society is a macro one, and here whole is greater than sum of its parts. अर्थात सोसाइटी टा ए पार्ट गुडाक ठारू ऊर्ध्वरे बा सबुठु बड़ होइथाय. And in modern times, von Butterfly founded the system theory in 1920 and continued to write about it till 1972. Regarding, it was not enough to understand the parts, that it was also important to understand the relationship among the other parts. That means, in order to give a new shape to the society, there are cultural aspect, there is a material aspect, there is a physical aspect, there is a religious aspect, and before discussing about the whole part, we have to think about the relationship between the other parts also, in order to give a new shape about the a greater or a wholer part, and that is system. A system may be defined as a series of interrelated and interdependent parts. That means a system is interrelated and interdependent parts, such as that the interaction of any part or subsystem affect the whole system. अर्थात गोटे सिस्टम भितरे कोनोसी गोटे पार्ट बा कोनोसी गोटे सिस्टम डिफंक्ट हो गले आमे होल सिस्टम टा प्रॉपर वे रे ठीक वे रे फंक्शन करि पारिबो नाही. You may take the example of the riding bicycle. जेतबे आमे बाइसाइकल टी चलुचे, जदि साइकल रो ब्रेक फेलर हो जाए बा पंचर हो जाए बा कोनोसी चक नष्ट हो जाए, देन आल्सो आमे साइकल टी चलै पारिबा नाही. अर्थात साइकल टी चलैया पई हेले साइकल रो प्रत्येक पार्ट प्रत्येक सिस्टम प्रॉपर वे रे फंक्शन करिबा उचित. And that's why what affects one part affect the other parts in the system and its environment. अर्थात गोटे पार्ट अफेक्ट हेले ऑटोमेटिकली इट हैव अफेक्ट टू the other part of the system. And this is all about the system theory of management and how they are interrelated to each other. For example, suppose you may take the example of the child system, and when a child is born from the wombs of the mother, मार गर्भरु जन्म होला परे, although no doubt mother is the first teacher of a child, but से जेतेबेले फॉर्मल सिस्टम ऑफ एजुकेशन को ग्रहण करे सेतेबेले she or he enter to the school system, and school is also within a society. School is also within a society, and again when he enter to the school system, then he enter to the education system. अर्थात जो एजुकेशन रो प्री प्राइमरी, प्राइमरी, एलिमेंटरी, सेकेंडरी, सीनियर सेकेंडरी, हायर एजुकेशन सिस्टम अछि, से एजुकेशन सिस्टम भितरे पिलाटी स्कूल को एंट्री कला एवं स्कूल को एंट्री करबा सहित एजुकेशन सिस्टम भितरे एंट्री कला एवं एजुकेशन सिस्टम भितरे एंट्री करबा सहित एजुकेशन बा सोसाइटी रे से पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम सहित एंट्री कला. Because after entering into the education, she or he is able to conscious about his rights and duties and responsibility towards the individual, towards the society, towards the nation. That is called the political system. Then he entered into the economic system, and as you know that economic is the system by which a man is able to fulfill his livelihood, and without proper and sound economic system, yes, whether it is a school, whether it is an individual, cannot sustain in this beautiful world. Then again, in order to make the life a more cultured or more meaningful, he will enter into the cultural system, and after that, in present scenario, he will enter into the technological system, because in this present era, almost all people or most of the people are depend on technological system, from good morning to good night, from each and every aspect, each and every activity for the betterment of the human life, betterment of the human civilization, as well as the growth and development of the society. We are directly or indirectly dependent on the technological system. Then last or final, that is all about the social system. অর্থাৎ এই সামাজিক প্রক্রিয়া ভিতরে সামাজিক ব্যবস্থা ভিতরে চাইল্ড সিস্টম আসিলা, স্কুল সিস্টম আসিলা, এডুকেশন সিস্টম আসিলা, পলিটিকাল সিস্টম আসিলা, ইকোনমিক সিস্টম আসিলা, cultural system asila, technological system asila, and all these are the system, subsystem or part of the social system. And here social system is a broader one, social system is a greater one, and under the social system all these parts, all these subsystems are functioning properly for giving new shape to the social system. And this is all about the a brief or simplest idea regarding the system theory of management. Am I audible to all?
Yes, sir.
If it is visible to all? Hello?
ଆଜ୍ଞା
If it
sir.
is visible to all?
Yes,
ଆଜ୍ଞା
sir.
Very good. Then come to the, there are different models of educational management recommended by Boss, and he recommended the different educational management and in order to give a new direction to the management theory or the models of educational management. The models of educational management, like its theory, have been developed by numbers of scholars to facilitate the educational manager. These models deal with educational organization as a whole with all its stakeholders and their interrelationship. Although these models have been developed over a period of time, the contribution of Bush 2003 is worth mentioning, who compiled the works of all such scholars and presented that the same in very meticulous manner in his subsequent work. However, we'll focus our discussion on the model only, this being the foundation of the area of specialization of educational management. So, my dear friends and students, for the development of the model of educational management, there are numbers of theory developed. There are numbers of the scholar developed the many theories, many model, but out of the all, Bush in 2003 he have a significant contribution towards the management theory or toward the specialization of the educational management. And in this section, in today's session, we are going to discuss about the detail about the different models, basically 6 models of educational management recommended by Bose in 2003, and how all these models are very, very helpful, very, very essential, and interrelated to each other in order to give a new shape to the educational management as a one of the important aspect in the field of the education system. But as you know that the word educational management is not a new concept. The word educational management is not a new phenomena. It is as old as the society, because for the principles of management, directly or indirectly, we are applying in the field of the educational management. That's why it is called as the educational management. And if you take the example of Henry Fayol, the father of educational management theory or modern public administrator, and if you take the example of Luther Gulick, he also recommended the 7 principle of management, that is called the post-corp: planning, organizing, directing, controlling, coordinating, staffing, and reporting. And all these are the part and principle of the management. And when we apply it in the field of education, it is refers to educational management. Then question arise, what about the life management? କାହା ମନରେ ପ୍ରଶ୍ନ ଆସୁଛି, ସାର୍ ଲାଇଫ ମ୍ୟାନେଜମେଣ୍ଟ କହିଲେ କଣ? ହ୍ୟାଲୋ, ଆମେ ମ୍ୟାନେଜମେଣ୍ଟର ପ୍ରିନ୍ସିପଲ କଥା ପଢିଲେ, থিওরি কথা পଢିଲେ, টেকনিক কথা পଢୁଛେ, এবং ডিফରେন্ଟ টাইପস অফ এডুকেশনাল ম্যানেজমেন্ট ମଧ୍ୟ পଢିଲେ, and we also highlighted the different technique of the management. ମୋର ପ୍ରଶ୍ନ ହେଲା, ଯେମିତି ଏଜୁକେସନାଲ ମ୍ୟାନେଜମେଣ୍ଟ ପଢୁଛେ ଲାଇଫ ମ୍ୟାନେଜମେଣ୍ଟର କ'ଣ ଏମିତି କିଛି ମନରେ ପ୍ରଶ୍ନ ଆସୁଛି କି? Life management, it means it is all about the how to handle the difficulty situation very tactfully, skillfully, patiently. That is all about the life management. So here now we are going to discuss the first model. That model is called as the formal models of educational management. ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କୁ ଶୁଭା ଯାଉଛି? ହ୍ୟାଲୋ ହ୍ୟାଲୋ
ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାର୍।
ହଁ ଆରେ ଟିକେ ରେସ୍ପଣ୍ଡ କରିବ ନା ରେ, ରେସ୍ପଣ୍ଡ କରିବ ଯଦି ମୁଁ ପଚାରୁଛି ରେସ୍ପଣ୍ଡ କରିବ। ତ ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ଦେଖିବା ଫାଷ୍ଟ ମଡେଲ, and that model is recommended as a BOS in 2003, and first model, that the name of the model is formal models of educational management. Let us come one by one. What do you mean by formal model, and what extent or what are the key features of the formal model of educational management? Formal models encompass a number of similar but not identical approach which emphasize the official and structural elements of organization. The authority is top down, which implies that policies are laid down by the top level official and implemented by lower level official. It means it simply indicates that formal models of educational management, it refers to the top to down bottom approach. That means decision is taken at authority level and implemented at the grassroots level, and this is all about the a simple idea regarding the formal models of educational management. What the authority is top down, which imply that policies are laid down by the top level. That means policy or decision are taken at the top level, and whereas implemented at the lower level for the decision taken by the authority or the policy or decision taken by the top authority at the top level. Then question arises, what are the key features of this kind of the model? According to Bush in 2003, in formal model the organizations are treated as a subsystem. According to this model, organizations are treated as a subsystem. As I have already highlighted you that if society is a larger one, then school is a subsystem. If a society is a larger one, college is a subsystem. If a society is a larger one, economic is a subsystem. If a society is a larger one, your political is a subsystem. Similarly, according to formal model of educational management, organizations are treated as a subsystem or the system. A system comprises elements that have clear organizational link with each other, and each and every system have organizationally linked to each other for the proper functioning and growth and development of the larger system. Within school, for example, department and other sub units are systematically related to each other and to the institution itself. For example, suppose if you take the example of the university, and under the university there are numbers of the department, numbers of the sub units are working, functioning, and they are related to each other. I am taking the example of suppose Utkal University or Ramadevi Women's University or IGNO University, and under the each and every university there are numbers of the department. It may be discipline from the arts, science, commerce, vocational, management, medical, whatever the discipline may be. And there are number of sub units like NCC units, like NSS unit, like Red Cross units, like music club units, or like so many units are there. But all these units, all these departments are related to each other for the growth and development of that organization or the institution. Formal model gives prominence to the official structure of the organization, and here formal model is giving prominence to the official structure of the organization. Formal structure are often represented by organizational charts which show the authorized pattern of relationship between members of the institution. And sometimes in some of the institution or the organization, the formal structure of the organization represented in a graphical chart in a graphically manner, and which shows the authorized pattern of relationship between members of the institution, and it indicate how there's a relationship taken place between the authority to the subordinate or the lowest members of that particular institution or the organization. And this is all about the meaning or concept of formal models of educational management, as well as the key features of formal models of educational management according to Bose in 2003. In formal models, there is a hierarchy in the official structure of the organization, which represents mean control for leaders over their staffs. That means, in according to formal models of educational management, in every organization, every institution, there is a hierarchy from top to bottom, bottom to top, and here leader, head of the institution, it may be headmaster, headmistress, principal, or vice chancellor, or may call the leaders of the institution. It is their duty to control the other staff members. In educational organization, teachers are accountable to their heads and principals. And as you know that in educational institution, teachers, assistant teachers, they are the accountable to their heads or the principal or their headmasters or their principals, because their headmaster or their principals are the immediate boss or immediate authority to the teachers in educational institution. The institution is thought to have official purpose which are accepted and pursued by members of the organization. In formal models, the managerial decisions are made through a rational process after considering and evaluating all the available options for the attainment of the organizational goals. That means whenever we are taking any kind of the decision, basically in the formal models, basically in formal model, we are considering all the options available inside the campus or inside the institution or the organization, and ultimately finally we are taking the decision for the betterment and for the maximum benefit of the organization or the institution as a whole. Formal approaches present the authority of a leader as a product of their official position within the organization. The power of the institutional heads, principals, is positional and is sustained only while they continue to hold their post. That means it may be head of the institution, or we may call the principal of the institution. It is a positional. That means all suppose those who are working in that institution ସମସ୍ତେ ହେଡ୍ ହେଇଯିବେ ନାହିଁ ବା ସମସ୍ତେ ପ୍ରିନ୍ସିପାଲ ହେଇପାରିବେ ନାହିଁ। ସେଇ ପୋଷ୍ଟକୁ ଯିଏ ହେଡ୍ କରୁଥିବେ ବା ସେଇ ପୋଷ୍ଟରେ ଯିଏ ଦାୟିତ୍ୱରେ ଥିବେ, only they can continue the hold their post and they can control the other staff members. They can take the decision by keeping the views and opinion of the other staff members. And all these are also features of the formal models of educational management. Again, in formal models, there is an emphasis on the accountability of the organization to its sponsoring body. Most schools remain responsible to the school district. That means in formal system, formal model, emphasis on the accountability, uttaradaitya by responsibility. Here, most schools remain responsible to the school district. It means at district level, there is a district officer. At block level, there is a block education officer, and most of the schools are responsible for the under their concerned district or the district education officer. Because if anything happen inside the school, then it is the duty of the district education officer to take care about it, to look after the matter or to sort out the matter within their jurisdiction, within their capacity. In many centralized systems, school principals are accountable to control or state government. And in basically, we have a concurrent list system of education, because our education is running or functioning by the controlling of the both state government as well as the central government. So here, school principals are accountable to national or state government. So in this context, those who are working as a principal or head of the institution or the headmaster or the headmistress, they are accountable to the state government as well as the national or the central government. If anything happen or anything good or bad, they are responsible for it in order to before the central or the state government. In decentralized system, principals are answerable to their governing boards. And at the same time, as you know that day by day, due to the changes of the time, the authority position, power position, functioning system of education is decentralized system. And here, principals are responsible for their governing boards or body. In India, education being in the concurrent list, I think you almost all are know যে ଭାରତରେ ଶିକ୍ଷା ବ୍ୟବସ୍ଥାଟା both ସେଣ୍ଟ୍ରାଲ ଗଭର୍ଣ୍ଣମେଣ୍ଟ ଏବଂ ଷ୍ଟେଟ ଗଭର୍ଣ୍ଣମେଣ୍ଟଙ୍କର ମିଳିତ ସହଯୋଗରେ ବା ମିଳିତ ଉଦ୍ୟମରେ ବା ମିଳିତ ପ୍ରୟାସରେ ଚାଲିଛି. The policy pertaining to educational system are by and large framed by top level official. It may be Ministry of Human Resource Development, or presently we may call as Ministry of Education, and implemented by grassroots level official, that is education officer, subject inspector, or teachers. And as you know that Indian education system is a concurrent list, and here by and large the top level official procedure framed under the top level under the Ministry of Human Resource Development, or in presently we may call it as Ministry of Education. And again, it is implemented at the grassroots level, and at the grassroots level the worker may be block education officer, panchayat education officer, or subject inspector, or teacher. Those who are working at the grassroots level or the institutional level or the field level, they are the implementer, the policy program developed by the Ministry of Education at top level. However, at educational institution level, head of the institution possesses complete authority by virtue of their position, as they are appointed on merit, have the competence to issue appropriate instruction to the teacher working with them. And as you know that at institutional level, school or the college level, head of the institution having the complete authority by virtue of their position, and they have, because they are appointed according to their merit basis, according to their potential basis, and for that reason they have a capacity to issue the appropriate instruction to the other teacher, assistant teacher, those who are working in that particular school or their jurisdiction area. Then this was all about the formal models of educational management. Now we are going to discuss another model, that is called the collegial models of educational management. Am I audible to all?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Collegial model includes all those theory that emphasize that power and decision making should be shared among some or all members of the organization. Very clear. Please look at the PPT and try to concentrate in your mind. The collegial model include all those theory that emphasize the power and decision making should be shared among some or all members of the organization. That means, suppose in a college or the institution, if there are 10 members or 10 employees are working, during that time, if you are exercising any kind of the power or taking the any kind of the decision for the development of the teacher, development of the student, or development of the school or the educational institution, that means that power and decision making should be shared to the all the members. That means your emphasis given to the decentralization. Earlier in formal system, the emphasis is given to the centralization, and this is the basic difference between formal models of educational management and collegial models of educational management. And these model assume that organization determine policy and make decision through process of discussion leading to consensus. That means this model assume that organization determine the policy. That means yes, organization have a capacity to take the decision about the policy, but make decision through a process of discussion leading to the consensus. That means although there's a policy, but we have to adopt it by taking its pro and consequence of the policy through the discussion. Power is shared among some or all members of the organization who are thought to have a shared understanding about the aims of the institution. And again, according to Brondret in 1998, collegiality can be broadly be defined as teachers conforming and collaborating with other teachers. That means collegiality can be broadly be defined as teachers conforming and collaborating with other teachers. That means it is one kind of the caring, sharing, discussion, and building a relationship between one teacher to another teacher, one subject to another teacher, by means of the cooperation, by means of the coordination, by means of the sharing. We can think about the aim and objective of the institution or the goal of the institution. And again, Little in 1990 explained that the reason to pursue the study and practice of collegiality is that presumably something is gained when teachers work together and something is lost when they do not. And this is also one of the fundamental definition regarding the collegial model. He rightly said that 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 something is gained when teachers work together. অর্থাৎ ଗୋଟିଏ ଅନୁଷ୍ଠାନର ଲାଭ, ଗୋଟିଏ ଅନୁଷ୍ଠାନର ସୁବିଧା ସେତେବେଳେ ହେଇଥାଏ ଯେତେବେଳେ other teachers are working together, they have a good understanding, they have a good mutual respect to each other, and something is lost when they do not. ଏବଂ ସେମାନଙ୍କ ଭିତରେ ସେମାନେ କିଛି ଲସ୍ କରନ୍ତି ସେତେବେଳେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ସେମାନଙ୍କ ପରସ୍ପର ଭିତରେ ସମ୍ପର୍କ ନଥାଏ, ପରସ୍ପର ଭିତରେ ସମ୍ମାନ ନଥାଏ ଏବଂ ପରସ୍ପର ଭିତରେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ତାଙ୍କ ଭିତରେ ବାଦ ବିବାଦ ଦେଖାଯାଏ, then we definitely lost something instead of gaining something for the productive benefit of the educational institution. And this definition given by Little in 1990. Then Boss once again recommended the following features for the collegial models of educational management. Like, they are strongly normative in orientation. The advocacy of the collegial is made more on the basis of prescription than on research-based studies of school practice. And this feature is recommended by Webb and Bhuliami in 1996. Collegial models seem to be particularly appropriate for organizations such as school and college that have significant members of professional staff. And another feature is it is a meaningful or purposeful for such school or college that have a significant numbers of the professional staff. That means same nature, same characteristic staff, so that it became purposeful one. Teacher
Sir,
have
सर आपण जोटा कहले प्रीवियस मॉडल ओनली अथॉरिटी हैव द डिसीजन कैपेसिटी जोटा कि इंप्लीमेंट हैला जो माने सबऑर्डिनेट स्टाफ्स थिले बट एठी सर इक्वली समस्त डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन हेगला सब माने सर जा काम भी
यस शेयरिंग होउची एटा डिसीजन निया जाउची एवं समस्तଙ୍କର ज्ञात सारे निष्पत्ति निया जाउची दैट मींस earlier that was centralized decision and here decision is taken decentralization.
So that is the difference between the previous model and this model.
This model এবং ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ବି ଜାଣ that model was based on the top to bottom approach and this model is based on the bottom to top approach.
Sir. Agya.
Clear?
Agya.
Okay, very good. Very good. ମଝିରେ ପଚାରି ପାରିବ କିଛି ଅସୁବିଧା ନାହିଁ. Teachers have an authority of expertise that contrast with the positional authority associated with formal models. Teachers require measures of autonomy in the classroom but also need to collaborate to ensure coherent approach to teaching and learning, and this statement or the features also recommended by Brondret in 1998. They assume that professionals also have a right to share in the wider decision making process. And again, in this model, professional means the person who have a skill, the professional, the person who have a knowledge, the professional, the person who have a command over the subject. They have also right to share their wider knowledge or idea in decision making process. That means here authority have a chance, here subordinate have also a chance, here professional have also equal chance to share their opinion during the time of decision making process. And again, shared decisions are likely to be better informed and are also much more likely to be implemented effectively. And here one thing is very clearly mentioned that shared decision is much more better than as compared to the centralized decision. Why? Because if you take the decision opinion of the others, then you will definitely get the good idea, good opinion, and if you implemented, then it became more effective and more efficient. And collegial model assume a common set of values held by members of the organization. These common values guide the managerial activities of the organization and are thought to lead to shared educational objective. And that common values or guide help to share the educational objective. The common values of professional form a part of the justification for the optimistic assumption that it is always possible to reach agreement about goals and policy of the institution. The size of the decision-making group is an important element in collegial management. That they have to be sufficiently small to be enable everyone to be heard. This may mean that collegial group better in elementary school or in sub-units than at the institutional level in secondary school. That means, during the time of decision making in collegial models of educational management, there must be size group must be known to everybody, and as soon as possible it should be small in size, and it is basically very useful for the elementary schools as compared to the institution at secondary school level. The meeting of the whole staff may operate collegiately in small school but may be suitable only for the information exchange in larger institution. And if the school is so large, if the school is so big, then it is very difficult to discuss healthily, to discuss with each and every members. Only if the school is large, then we can exchange the larger information, larger institution or larger idea to the larger people. But the group members are small, or if the school is a small one, we can discuss healthy manner and we can take the right decision at the right time for the by keeping the views of aim and objective of the school or the educational institution. And this is also one of the important features of collegial models of educational management. The collegial model deal with this problem of scale by building in the assumption that teachers have formal representation within the various decision-making bodies. That means here it clearly mentioned that teachers have the equal rights, formal representation within various decision-making bodies or various decision-making process. The democratic element of formal representation rests on the commitment owned by participants to their constituency. Collegial model assume that decisions are reached by conscience. They believe that there are common values and shared objectives lead to the view that it is both desirable and possible to resolve problems by the agreement. The collegial model having some commonality with the human relation theories, no doubt, propagate the ideal situation which is invariably not visible while taking into the consideration the crucial resources like time and money. That means if there is any kind of the relation theory or no or propagate to the ideal situation, we have to think critically about the crucial resources like time and money factors. Moreover, in every organization, you would find some sort of groupism or divided loyalty. And as you know that more the people, that's a more chances of the disturbance. More the larger group, that's a more chances of the groupism and divided loyalty. So in that context, according to collegial model, if the group is small one, then there is more chances of the healthy discussion and more chances of good decision. And if the group is too big or too large, then there is a more chances of the disturbance, or it may lead the groupism or divided towards the loyalty. And this is also one of the important features of the collegial models of educational management. Then third model of educational management, that is called the political models of educational management. Political models assume that in organization, policy and decision emerge through a process of negotiation and bargaining. As you know very well and very much that as India is a democracy country, India is a multi-diversity country, India is a larger country, and India is a most populated country, and where policies and decisions are emerged through a process of negotiation and bargaining in most of the time. As for the political models of educational management is concerned, interest groups develop and form alliance in the pursuit of particular policy objective. And once again, Bush in 2003 opened that conflict is viewed as a natural phenomena and power accumulates to dominant coalition rather than being the preserve of formal leaders. And as India is a democratic country, and due to the political matter or due to the controversy, there is a more chances of that conflict is there, and by means of the conflict, it is viewed as a natural phenomena. अर्थात conflict हेबाटा गुटे साधारण कथा एवं power accumulated dominant coalition and power is accumulated by अख्तियार करंती dominant section rather than being the preserve of formal leaders. अर्थात जो माने योग्य लीडर सेमानक तुलनारे जो माने dominant section थांती सेमाने पावर को आक्योर करंती बा पावर को अख्तियार करबा को चेष्टा करिथांती इन पॉलिटिकल मॉडल्स ऑफ एजुकेशनल मैनेजमेंट एवं जोटा आमे गुटे ओडिया रे सुनिथिबो तेलिया मुंडरे तेल दैट मींस दैट इज अ डिफरेंस बिटवीन हैव एंड हैव नॉट अर्थात जो मानकर हैव अर्थात थिला वाला से माने चेष्टा करंती नथिला वाला मान को केमिति निजो कंट्रोल रखिबे निजो आयतरे रखिबे सो दैट दे विल गेट द मोर बेनिफिट as compared to the have not group. And again, Bush recommended the key features of this political model. Let us come one by one. They tend to focus on group activity rather than the institution as a whole. Political models are concerned with interest and interest group. Here, one thing is very clear that they tend to focus on group activity rather than the institution as a whole. And political models are concerned with the interest and interest groups. Here, individuals are thought to have a variety of interests that they pursue within the organization. And as you know that every individual have its like and dislike, have its own area of interest, and one individual also sometimes possesses the variety of interest. Political models stress the prevalence of conflict in the organization, and as if there is a society, then there is definitely more chances of the conflict in the political model stress as a conflict in the organization. And interest groups pursue their independent objective, which may contrast sharply with the aim of the subunit within the institution and lead to conflict between them. ଏବଂ ଯେତେବେଳେ କୌଣସି ଗୋଟିଏ ଅନୁଷ୍ଠାନର ଲକ୍ଷ୍ୟ ବା ଉଦ୍ଦେଶ୍ୟ ନେଇକି କାମ କରାଯାଏ ଏବଂ ସେଥିରେ କିଛି ଇଣ୍ଟରେଷ୍ଟ ଗ୍ରୁପ ଲୋକ ବା ସ୍ୱାର୍ଥ ନିହିତ ଲୋକ ବା ଇଣ୍ଡିଭିଜୁଆଲ ମାନେ ଗ୍ରୁପ ଅଫ ଦି ପିପୁଲ ସେମାନେ ଦ୍ୱନ୍ଦ୍ୱ ସୃଷ୍ଟି କରନ୍ତି ଏବଂ ପରବର୍ତ୍ତୀ ଷ୍ଟେଜରେ ସେଇ କିଛି ମୁଷ୍ଟିମେୟ ଲୋକଙ୍କ ପାଇଁ ସେଠି ଦ୍ୱନ୍ଦ୍ୱ ସୃଷ୍ଟି ହେଇଥାଏ and this is also one of the features of the political model. Political model assume that the goal of organization are unstoppable, ambiguous and contested. ଏବଂ ଏଇଟା ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ମଧ୍ୟ ଦେଖାଯାଇଛି ଗୋଟେ ଅନୁଷ୍ଠାନର ଲକ୍ଷ୍ୟ ବା ଉଦ୍ଦେଶ୍ୟ ଅନଷ୍ଟପେବୁଲ, ଗୋଟିଏ ଅନୁଷ୍ଠାନର ଉଦ୍ଦେଶ୍ୟ ବା ଲକ୍ଷ୍ୟକୁ ଆମେ କେବେ ମଧ୍ୟ ବନ୍ଦ କରିପାରିବା ନାହିଁ. It is ambiguous, it is contested in context of the political models of educational management. Individual, interest group, coalition have their own purpose and act towards their achievement. That means every individual, every interest group and coalition group their own purpose and own objective they are working towards in order to achieve their goal or the achievement. Different individual and groups have different objectives, and as you know that more the individual, more the objective, more the group, more the process, more the objective. Similarly, in political model also different individual and groups have different objectives and resources, and each attempt to bargain with the members or coalition to influence the goals and decision making process. And all the groups, all the individual, they are interested to bargain with the other members in order to influence the goals and decision making process. And as noted above, decision emerge after a complex process of bargaining and negotiation. And for this reason, here emphasis is given to the individual interest as well as the group interest and as well as the institutional or the organization interest. Then process became more complex only because of the bargaining and negotiation. The concept of power is central to all political theories, and here the concept of power is central to the all political theories. The outcome of the complex decision making process are likely to be determined according to the relative power of the individual and interest group involved in the debate. ଏବଂ ସାଧାରଣତଃ ଦେଖାଯାଇଛି କ'ଣ ଦେଖାଯାଇଛି ଯେ ବେସିକାଲି the outcome of the complex decision making process, ଏତେ କମ୍ପ୍ଲେକ୍ସ ଭିତରେ ମଧ୍ୟ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଡିସିଜନ ନିଆଯାଏ ସେତେବେଳେ ଦେଖାଯାଇଛି ଟୁ ବି ଡିଟରମାଇନ୍ଡ ଆକର୍ଡିଂ ଟୁ ଦି ରିଲେଟିଭ ପାୱାର ଅଫ ଦି ଇଣ୍ଡିଭିଜୁଆଲ. ସାଧାରଣତଃ ଯେଉଁମାନଙ୍କ ପାଖରେ ଶକ୍ତି, ସାମର୍ଥ୍ୟ ଏବଂ କ୍ଷମତା ଥାଏ ସେମାନେ ଇଣ୍ଟରେଷ୍ଟ ଗ୍ରୁପ ଇନଭଲ୍ଭ ଇନ୍ ଦି ଡିବେଟ୍, ଯେଉଁମାନେ ଡିବେଟ୍ ବା ତର୍କରେ ଭାଗ ନେଇଥାନ୍ତି ସେମାନଙ୍କ ଫେଭରରେ, ସେମାନଙ୍କ ସପକ୍ଷରେ ନିଷ୍ପତ୍ତି ବା ଡିସିଜନଟା ଯାଇଥାଏ. Why? Because they are very much aware about the political issues and they are very much conscious about the bargaining and negotiation power. Various teachers, association, students, unions, and non-teaching staff bodies are the practical example of the political model. And as you know that at college level, university level, there is a students union. At college level, school level, university level, that's a teacher association. And all these association, all these union are a practical example of the political model. ଆପଣ ମାନେ ବୁଝି ପାରୁଛନ୍ତି?
ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାର୍।
ଯେତେବେଳେ କଲେଜରେ ପଢୁଥିଲେ ଆପଣ ମାନେ ଶୁଣିଥିବେ ଗୋଟେ ଷ୍ଟୁଡେଣ୍ଟ ୟୁନିୟନ ଥାଏ। ଷ୍ଟୁଡେଣ୍ଟ ୟୁନିୟନ ଭିତରେ ଦେଖିଥିବ କିଛି କିଛି ଲୋକ ବିଜେଡି ଛାତ୍ର ଦଳ, ବିଜେପି ଛାତ୍ର ଦଳ, କଂଗ୍ରେସ ଛାତ୍ର ଦଳ ବା ବିଭିନ୍ନ ଅଖିଳ ଭାରତୀୟ ଛାତ୍ର ଦଳ ବା ୟୁନିୟନ ଏଭଳି ବିଭିନ୍ନ ନାମରେ ନାମିତ କରାଯାଇଥାଏ। ୟେସ୍ ଅର୍ ନୋ? ଏବଂ ଦେଖାଯାଏ ସେମାନଙ୍କ ଭିତରୁ ଯୋଉମାନେ ଅଧିକ ସଚେତନ ଥାଆନ୍ତି, ଯୋଉମାନଙ୍କ ପାଖରେ କ୍ଷମତା ଥାଏ, ଯୋଉମାନଙ୍କ ପାଖରେ ମନି ଏଣ୍ଡ ମେଟେରିଆଲ ଥାଏ, ସେମାନେ ସେହି ବାର୍ଗେନିଂ ବା ନେଗୋସିଏସନରେ ମଧ୍ୟ ଜିତିବାର ଅନେକ ସମ୍ଭାବନା ଥାଏ। and that is the practical example of the political model of educational management. And these models are considered better than formal and collegial model. ଏବଂ according to Bush ସେ କହୁଛନ୍ତି these models are considered better than the formal and collegial model. କ'ଣ ପାଇଁ? ଫର୍ମାଲ ମଡେଲରେ ଟପ୍ ଟୁ ବଟମ୍ ହଉଥିଲା, କଲିଜିଆଲ ମଡେଲରେ ବଟମ୍ ଟୁ ଟପ୍ ହଉଥିଲା, କିନ୍ତୁ ଆମର ପଲିଟିକାଲ ମଡେଲରେ କ'ଣ ଦେଖାଗଲା? ହିୟର ଏମ୍ଫାସିସ୍ ଇଜ ଗିଭେନ୍ ଟୁ ଦି ବାର୍ଗେନିଂ ଏଣ୍ଡ ନେଗୋସିଏସନ, and ଯାହାର ବାର୍ଗେନିଂ ନେଗୋସିଏସନ ବା ଆସୋସିଏସନ ଷ୍ଟ୍ରଙ୍ଗ ରହିଲା ସେମାନଙ୍କର ଜିତିବା, ସେମାନଙ୍କର ନିଷ୍ପତ୍ତି, ସେମାନଙ୍କର ଡିସିଜନଟା କାଏମ ରୁହେ ବା ତାଙ୍କ କଥାଟା ଗ୍ରହଣୀୟ ହୋଇଥାଏ। ଭାଇସ୍ ମ୍ୟାନେଜିଂ ଇନଷ୍ଟିଟ୍ୟୁସନ ଅଫ ହାୟର ଏଜୁକେସନ ଲର୍ଣ୍ଣିଂ। Then now we shall discuss another model, and that model is called the subjective models of educational management. In subjective models, focus on individual within the organization rather than the total institution or its sub-units. Try to understand it. ସେ କହୁଛି subjective model focus on individual within the organization rather than the total institution or its sub-units. That means if you take the example of the subjective model, and within the one organization, within the one institution, your emphasis given to the individual, not as a institution or not as a sub-unit. And once again, according to Bush, this model assume that organization are the creation of the people within them, and it is the organization who is the creator of the people within them. And this concept recommended by Bush in 2003 in context, in views of, in support of subjective models of educational management. Here, participants are thought to interest situation in different ways, and these individual perceptions are derived from their background and values. Why? Because here emphasis is given to the backgrounds and values of the individual, and here individual is playing important or significant role for the purpose of subjective models of educational management. And here once again organization have different meanings for each of their members and exist only in the experience of those members. এবং as although it is organization, but organization have a different meaning, different concept for the different member or the each and every members, and organization is exist only in the such kind of the person who have a experience of those members, ବା ଯେଉଁ ମେମ୍ବରଙ୍କର, ଯେଉଁ ବ୍ୟକ୍ତିଙ୍କର, ଯେଉଁ ଇଣ୍ଡିଭିଜୁଆଲଙ୍କର ପାଖରେ ଅନୁଭୂତି ଥାଏ, ସାମର୍ଥ୍ୟ ଥାଏ, ସେମାନଙ୍କ ପାଖରେ subjective model education management ପହଞ୍ଚି ପାରେ ବା ରହିପାରେ। And these are the key features recommended by once again Bush in 2003 as a features of subjective model. Kono? They focus on the belief and perception of individual. They focus on the belief and perception of the individual member of organization rather than the institutional level or the interest groups. अर्थात मुख्य फोकस है गोटे व्यक्तिर बिलीफ एवं परसेप्शन को से गुरुत्व दियंती ना कि गोटे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन बा गोटे अनुष्ठान रो ग्रुप ऑफ पीपल इच्छा को rather they emphasize the belief and perception of the individual.
Sir, it only individual centered.
Yes, it is individual centered
Okay, sir.
as compared to the institutional or the organizational level or the interest group of the people. Here focus is given to the individual or a particular person, but the person must have a consciousness, awareness and experience.
Again.
The focus on the individual rather than the organization is a fundamental difference between subjective and formal model. And try to understand second point. The focus of individual rather than the organization is a fundamental difference between subjective and formal model. Subjective models are concerned with the meanings placed on events by people within organization. The focus is on the individual interpretation of behavior rather than the situation or the action themselves. The different meanings placed on situation by the various participants are product of their values, backgrounds, and experience. And here, the different meaning placed on the situation by the various participants are product of their values, background, and experience. So the interpretation of events depends on the belief held on each members of the organization. Subjective model treat structure as a product of human interaction than something that is fixed or predetermined. The organizational structure which are characteristic of formal models are regarded as fiction in that they cannot predict the behavior of the individual. Subjective approach move the emphasis away from structure towards consideration of behavior and process. Here, subjective approach move the emphasis away from the structure towards consideration of behavior and process. And here, individual behavior is thought to reflect the personal qualities and aspiration of the participant rather than the formal role they occupy. That means here the behavior of the individual is reflect the personal quality, that is the quality of a person, that is the potential of a person, that is the personality of a single individual. And again, aspiration of the participant rather than the formal roles they occupy. Subject approaches emphasize the significance of individual purposes and they deny the existence of organizational goals. এবং পুনর্বার এঠে ইন্ডিভিজুয়াল পর্পজ, ইন্ডিভিজুয়াল উদ্দেশ্য, ইন্ডিভিজুয়াল লক্ষ্যକୁ বেশি গুরুত্ব দিয়া যাই থাকে এবং ডিনাই দি এক্সিস্টেন্স অফ অর্গানাইজেশনাল গোল, অর্থাৎ অর্গানাইজেশন, অনুষ্ঠান, ইনস্টিটিউশনাল গোলକୁ কোন গৌণ ভাବରେ গণা যাই থাকে এবং ব্যক্তির ভাবনাକୁ, ব্যক্তির লক্ষ্য বা উদ্দেশ্যକୁ ଅଧିକ ପ୍ରାଥମିକତା বা ପ୍ରାଧାନ୍ୟ দিয়া যাই থাকে under the subjective approach of model. These model advocate adopting the philosophy of individual aim, implying thereby if individual will grow, the institution in which he is working will grow as well. And as you know that in philosophy there is an individual aim of education, another is social aim of education. आपण माने पढिछंती?
Yes, sir.
कोटे पढिछंती? इंडिविजुअल एम ऑफ एजुकेशन आ गुड होची सोशल एम ऑफ एजुकेशन, कोटे पढिछंती? हेलो, अरे कोटे पढिछंती?
Sir, philosophy part तो sir सर दीटा तो सर मेंशन सेमती थिला पर्टिकुलरली सर सेमती तो नहीं
हौ ठीक अछि जदि इंडिविजुअल एम जदि पढिचो सोशल एम पढिचो तार डिफरेंस टा कोन एटे सब्जेक्टिव मॉडल कहूची हियर मोर एम्फासिस गिवन टू द इंडिविजुअल एम तो बर्तमान मोर प्रश्न हला इंडिविजुअल एम कहले कोन बुझुचो आउ सोशल एम ऑफ एजुकेशन कहले कोन बुझुचो
Sir, individual aim means give prioritize onto the individual's interest, more interest and capabilities, sir.
of individual very good and what about the social aim
Sir, it give emphasis onto the social aim only, social
social aim
objective,
or
sir.
the development of
Accessible
the or the development of the society as a whole या कहूचो तो
objective. Again,
अर्थात इंडिविजुअल एम रे व्यक्तिर उन्नति हेले समाजर उन्नति हेबो कथा कहूचे आमे एवं सामाजिक सोशल एम रे कहूचे आमे समाजर उन्नति हेले व्यक्तिर उन्नति हेबो बोली आमे कहूचे सिमिलरली इन सब्जेक्टिव मॉडल कहूची हियर adopting the philosophy of the individual aim and implying that यह सूचना देउची इफ इंडिविजुअल विल ग्रो जदि गोटे व्यक्ति विशेष ग्रो करिवो बा विकास करिवो बा डेवलप करिवो then institution in which he is working will grow as well अर्थात गोटे व्यक्तिर विकास रे से जो अनुष्ठान रे काम करूना काहे कि सेही अनुष्ठान मध्य ग्रो करिवो बोली विश्वास करे सब्जेक्टिव मॉडल्स ऑफ एजुकेशनल मैनेजमेंट दैट मीन्स हियर focus is given to the interest ability aim objective development growth of the individual aim of education all are clear hello
yes, sir.
okay मु को मॉडल कथा कहूची
Sir, subject.
सब्जेक्टिव मॉडल्स ऑफ एजुकेशनल मैनेजमेंट आ अन्य माने कोन सोई पडिले कि ना ऑनलाइन रे रही कि माने खाली मोबाइल लगे दैछन्ती आ कोडे पळैछन्ती participation is more important because unless and until if there is no participation there is no meaning of the learning because in formal classroom situation there is more chances of the to face interaction and teacher have a control over the students but in online teaching teacher have no control over the students if someone is online from mobile but if he or she is moving somewhere else then also teacher cannot do anything but if you participate if you interact with the teacher then your purpose of the online learning became meaningful and purposeful one okay let us come another model that is called the ambiguity models of educational management and once again the word ambiguity it is very clear very signifies that ambiguity regarding the models of educational management. According to Bush in 2003, ambiguity model assumed that turbulence or unpredictability are dominant features of the organization. It means that there is no clarity over the objectives of institution and their process are not properly understood. Hebo na hebo nahi, hoi paribo na hei paribo nahi, always in a conflict, always in unpredictability. कोनोसी आमे predict करि पारिबा नाही, कोनोसी clarity पाई पारिबा नाही, and that kind of model is called the ambiguity model. And again, your participation in policy making is fluid as member opt in or out of decision opportunity. एथिरे कोनोसी प्रकार सिद्धांत आमे पहुंची पारिबा नाही कोन पाई केतले हेबो कहिबा केतले नाही कहिबा केतले प्रेडिक्शन करिबा केतले प्रेडिक्शन करि पारिबा नाही केतले प्रेडिक्शन काम देई पारे केतले प्रेडिक्शन काम मध्य न देई पारे दैट मींस आवर माइंड इज इन अ डिलेमा आवर माइंड इज इन अ कंफ्यूजन आवर माइंड इन अ डबल स्टैंडर्ड not a specific not a singular not a goal neither a goal or the objective and this model is called as the ambiguity model काम करिबा ना करिबा नाही डिसीजन हेबो ना नाही कामटा सक्सेस हेबो ना हेई पारिबो नाही ऑलवेज वी आर इन ए कंफ्यूजन बा द्वंद्व रे जो थाउ सेही मॉडल को कहा जाय ambiguity model. Then let us come. What are the features of this model? There is a lack of clarity about the goals of the organization. अर्थात जेकोसी अनुष्ठान हेउथा ना काहेकि तार अनुष्ठान रो गोल उद्देश्य कोन लक्ष्य कोन सेथिरे कोनोसी प्रकार क्लारिटी बा कोनोसी प्रकार क्लारिटी न थाए जाहारी फଳରେ it became ambiguity one. Many institutions are thought to have inconsistent and opaque objective. ଏବଂ ଏଇଭଳି ଅନେକ ଅନୁଷ୍ଠାନ ଅଛନ୍ତି ଯେଉଁମାନେ inconsistent and opaque objective ଥାନ୍ତି. They are not able to reach the clarity of their goal. It may be argued that aim become clear only through the behavior of members of the organization. ଏବଂ aim ସେତେବେଳେ କ୍ଲିୟର ହେଇପାରିବ ଯେତେବେଳେ it reflect the behavior of the members of the organization, those who are working in that institution or college, school or the university. And here educational institutions are regarded as typical in having no clearly defined objective. Because teachers work independently for much of their time, they may experience little difficulty in pursuing their own interest. As a result, school and college are thought to have no coherent pattern of aims. Ambiguity model assume that organizations have a problematic technology in that their process are not properly understood. अर्थात ambiguity model कुहे जे organization have a problematic technology जाहारी फଳରେ ସେମାନେ କୌଣସି ଏକ ସିଦ୍ଧାନ୍ତରେ ଉପନୀତ ହୋଇପାରନ୍ତି ନାହିଁ ବା କୌଣସି ଏକ ନିଷ୍କର୍ଷରେ ସେମାନେ ପହଞ୍ଚି ପାରନ୍ତି ନାହିଁ or processes are not properly understood ବା ସେମାନେ ବୁଝି ମଧ୍ୟ ପାରନ୍ତି ନାହିଁ. In education, it is not clear how students acquire knowledge and skill, so the process of teaching are clouded with doubt and uncertainty. Ambiguity theory emphasizes that there is a fluid participation in the management of organization. In the words of Coherent and March 1986, participants in the organization vary among themselves in the amount of time and effort they devote to the organization. Individual participation vary from one time to another time because due to the confusion, due to the lack of clarity, due to the lack of understanding, sometimes even there is a participant or individual participant vary from time to time because they have no interest to involve in such kind of the decision making process where always ambiguity, no clarity, it may be institution or organization. As a result, standards, theories of power and choice seem to be inadequate. এবং এইভଳି ଅନୁଷ୍ଠାନ ମାନଙ୍କରେ ଦେଖାଯାଏ କୌଣସି ଷ୍ଟାଣ୍ଡାର୍ଡ ଥିଓରି ବା ପାୱାର ବା ଚଏସର ଅଭାବ ପରିଲକ୍ଷିତ ହୋଇଥାଏ. A further source of ambiguity is provided by the signals emanating from the organizational environment. ଏବଂ ଏଭଳି ଅନୁଷ୍ଠାନକୁ a further source of ambiguity provide କରାଯାଇଥାଏ for the formal organizational environment ବା maintain କରିବା ପାଇଁ. In an area of rapid changes, school may be experience difficulties in interpreting the various messages being transmitted from environment and dealing with the conflicting signals. The uncertainty arising from the external context adds to the ambiguity of the decision making process within the institution. এবং বেড়ে বেড়ে দেখা যায় যে এক্সଟর্নাল কন্টেক্সট দ্বারা এক্সଟর্নাল এজেন্সি ମାନଙ୍କ ଦ୍ୱାରା ambiguity ସୃଷ୍ଟି ହେବା ଦ୍ୱାରା ଇନଷ୍ଟିଚ୍ୟୁସନର ଇଣ୍ଟରନାଲି ମଧ୍ୟ ପ୍ରପର ଡିସିଜନ ନିଆଯାଇପାରେ ନାହିଁ ଯାହାକୁ ଆମେ କହିପାରିବା because of the influence of the external barrier, external influence, even those who are working in the institution, they are also not able to take the right decision or the decision making process within also within the institution. And this is all about the ambiguity models of educational management. And again, ambiguity theories emphasize the prevalence of on-planet decision. And here, there is no planning, there is no system, there is no organization. Here, prevalence of the on-planet, କୌଣସି ପ୍ରକାର ପ୍ଲାନିଂର ସୁବିଧା ସୁଯୋଗ ସେଠି ନଥାଏ. The lack of agreed goals means that decisions have no clear focus. That means it depends upon the agree and not agree of the individual or the members. It means here no clear focus. Problems, solution, and participants interact and choice somehow emerge from the confusion. এবং जो प्रॉब्लम आसे बा जहाँ सॉल्यूशन आसे बा जो माने पार्टिसिपेंट करंती इंटरैक्ट करंती बा चॉइस करंती somehow emerge from the confusion. केवल कन्फ्यूजन रे आरंभ होई कन्फ्यूजन रे शेष हुए कोनोसी सिद्धांत रे सेमाने पहुंची पारंती नाही जहार अन्य नाम होची ambiguity model. And here ambiguity model stress the advantages of decentralization. Although যেহেতু ଅନ୍ୟମାନେ ମଧ୍ୟ ମତାମତ ଦିଅନ୍ତି, so here emphasis is given to the or stress is given to the decentralization ବା ଅନ୍ୟମାନଙ୍କୁ ମଧ୍ୟ opinion share କରିବାରେ କହିବା ପାଇଁ ସୁଯୋଗ ଦିଆଯାଇଥାଏ. Given the complexity and unpredictability of organization, one is complexity and unpredictability of the organization, it is thought that many decisions should be devolved to summits and individual. The educational system may be defined and described more judiciously with the ambiguity models of educational management, as they stress that there should be a segregation of problems of the system from the choice available for their solution. So this is all about the features of ambiguity model. Am I audible to all?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then come to the cultural models of educational management. Here, cultural model emphasize the informal aspects of the organization rather than their official elements. What does it mean? यार अर्थ कोन बोली भाबुछ?
Sir, এটা only informal aspect को बेसी priority दे as compared to the sir formal
Very
way
good.
of living.
As compared to the official elements or the formal aspect. Very good.
Sir.
Your emphasis is given to the informal aspect. Very good. They focus on the values, beliefs, and norms of the individual in the organization and how these individual perceptions fuse into the shared organizational meanings. It means in cultural models of educational management, emphasis or focus is given to the values, beliefs, and norms of the individual. The cultural model are manifested by symbols, rituals, rather than through the formal structure of the organization. And here manifested by symbols or the rituals. आमे विभिन्न symbols बा ritual को manifested करिथाउ through the formal structure of the organization. And just like the other model, both list central features of the cultural model of the educational management as follow. जो आमे political model कथा कहिले, ambiguity model कथा कहिले, subjective model कथा कहिले, सेमानक भली बस एठे cultural model रो features मध्य recommend करछन्दी. कोन? It focus on the values and belief of the members of the organization. Shared value, shared beliefs, shared meaning, shared understanding, shared sense making are all different ways of describing culture, and this statement or the features recommended by Morgan in 1997. I mean, shared value. Suppose I want to share my value to another person, another society, shared belief, Vishwas, shared meaning, Artha, shared understanding, Bujhavana, shared sense of making. All these are different from different are all different ways of describing culture recommended by Morgan in 1997. ଯେମିତି ଇଣ୍ଡିଭିଜୁଆଲ ଭିତରେ ଡିଫରେନ୍ସ ଅଛି, सोसाइटी भितर डिफरेन्स अछि, सेमति हम कल्चर कथा जेतले चिंता करूचे शेयर्ड वैल्यू रे, शेयर्ड बिलीफ रे, शेयर्ड मीनिंग रे, शेयर्ड अंडरस्टैंडिंग रे बा शेयर्ड सेंस ऑफ मेकिंग रे मध्य डिफरेंट वे ऑफ कल्चर को डिस्क्राइब बा डिफाइन करा जाय अछि एंड दिस डेफिनेशन or features recommended by Morgan 1997 because here emphasis is given to the values, beliefs, norms and shared ideas. A cultural model focus on the notion of a single or dominant culture in organization, but this does not necessarily mean that individual values are always in harmony with one another. Try to understand this point. The cultural model focus on the notion of a single or the dominant culture. It may be single or the dominant culture or the powerful culture in organization, but this does not necessarily mean that individual values are always in the harmony with one another. There may be different and competing value system that create mosaic of organizational reality rather than a uniform corporate culture. And once again, this statement or the features recommended by Morgan in 1997. मते कहि परिबो कल्चर कहले कोन बुझुछ? What do you mean by culture or what is your understanding about the culture?
Sir, culture means having specific values or rituals.
Yes, culture means specific values and rituals. Any more? From the any other participants? Any idea? You should keep in mind, culture is a multi-complex phenomena. Culture means sum total of combination of the values, belief, idea, knowledge, experience, rituals ଏବଂ এই ସବୁର ସମିଶ୍ରଣରେ ଆମେ culture ବୋଲି କହି ଥାଉ. And today we are going to discuss about the culture, concept and cultural model of educational management. Organizational culture emphasizes the development of shared norms and meaning. Organizational culture means planned culture, systematic culture, emphasize the development of shared norms and ends meaning. ଏହାର shared norms को ଉପରେ ଏବଂ ଉଦ୍ଦେଶ୍ୟ ବା ଅର୍ଥ ଉପରେ ଅଧିକ ଗୁରୁତ୍ୱ ଆରୋପ କରିଥାଏ. The assumption is that interaction between members of the organization or subgroups. The assumption is that interaction between members of the organization or its subgroups eventually leads to be behavioral norms that gradually became cultural features of the school or college. It means the assumption that interaction between members of the organization, that means within an organization we have a number of the members, and whenever we have an interaction with each other or its subgroups, or within a group or organization we have a numbers of the subgroup, or eventually leads to behavioral norms that gradually became feature of the school or the college. That means it indicates that within an organization there may be culture from the different culture, different religion, different caste, different sex group of the people, and when they are getting opportunity to interact with each other, shared with each other, and that became cultural features of the school or the college. You may take the example of the school or the college. During the time of student career, we have a different kinds of the student, someone is Muslim, someone is Christian, someone is Hindu, someone is Sikh, someone is higher caste, someone is lower caste, someone is middle class, and someone is highly rich background, someone is highly poor background, someone is son or daughter of professor, someone is son or daughter of the farmer or the daily labor. So when all the students are getting opportunity to interact with each other, it provides the cultural values, cultural belief, cultural system, cultural rituals, and all these are coming under the cultural values, beliefs, system, and under the educational management. And as a teacher, as a head of the institution, principal, headmaster, headmistress, we have to control all these cultural organization, cultural interaction, so that we can able to control the institution or organization for the productive development of the students as well as the holistic development of the institution or organization. These groups norms sometimes allow the development of monoculture in school with meanings shared throughout the staff. These groups typically have internal coherence but experience difficulty in relationship with other groups whose behavioral norms are different. Culture is typically expressed through rituals and ceremonies which are used to support and celebrate belief and norms. Schools are rich in such symbols as assemblies, prize giving, and corporate worship, etc. କ'ଣ କହୁଛି ଯେ culture is typically expressed through rituals and ceremonies which are used to support and celebrate beliefs and norms. অর্থাৎ বেসিক্যালি কলচর রিফ্লেকশনটা কেতବେଳେ আসে বা এক্সপ্রেশনটা কেতବେଳେ আসে থ্রু দি রিচুয়ালস when we are maintaining or following or celebrating the any kind of the rituals with a group of the people, or when we are celebrating the any ceremony which are based on which to support and celebrate the beliefs and norms of the people, of the society, of the culture, or a group of the people. Schools are rich in such symbols as assemblies, prize giving, and corporate worship. And schools are the most suitable example or the suitable place where we are getting during the time of symbol as assemblies or prize giving or corporate worship, where there is more chances of the cultural educational management. And this is all about the 6 models of educational management or the different models of educational management recommended by BOSS in 2003. Then let us come to the few comparison with above all these model. অর্থাৎ ফর্মাল মডেল কোন কହୁଛି, comparative model কোন কହୁଛି, subjective model কোন কହୁଛି, cultural model কোন কହୁଛି, ambiguity model কোন কହୁଛି, and according to their nature and features, according to their nature and characteristics, how they are differ to each other, how they are interact to each other, how they are interrelated to each other. Let us come one by one. That is called the comparing the management model. The above mentioned 6 management model represent different ways of looking at educational institution. Why? Because different model have different aim and objective. Different model have different nature, characteristic, and features as well as the attributes. Each set of models offer valuable insight into the nature of management in education, but none provides a complete picture. And this is the very a good outcome or the findings after comparing the 6 model of management. That is, each set of model offer valuable insight, no doubt at all, but the nature of management in education, but none provides a complete picture. କୌଣସି ମଡେଲ ସମ୍ପୂର୍ଣ୍ଣ ଭାବରେ କମ୍ପ୍ଲିଟ ପିକ୍ଚର ବା 100% ପରଫେକ୍ଟ ନୁହନ୍ତି. all are in process, all have different objective, all have different features and attributes. Thus, the applicability of this model varies in accordance with the needs of varied context. এবং যেতବେଳେ ଆମେ apply କରିବା all these model, it also varied from context to context, situation to situation, time to time, and again institution to institution. As rightly put up by Morgan in 1997, organizations are many things at once. They are complex and multifaceted. They are paradoxical. And as within organization is itself a complex, multifaceted one, and they are paradoxical. And in this context, applying of all these 6 models of management, it is not possible because it varies from context to context, situation to situation, time to time, institution to institution. And that's why the challenge facing management are so difficult. That's why there is so many challenges before the manager for the implementation, application of all these 6 model in the field of the education, in the field of the institution or the organization, or we may call in our personal and professional life. In any given situation, there may be many different tendency and dimension, all of which have an impact on effective management. Hence, adaptability of these model largely depend on the judicious analysis of the prevailing situation, as these model provide broad overview of possible existing situation as well as the optimum solution for effective and efficient management of educational organization. That means it here simply indicate that before the implementation of all these model, as a manager, as a implementer, we have to judicially analysis, and we have to think critically and analytically what are the prevailing situation exist. Then we have to think about the model provide broad overview of possible existing situation, ଯେ ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ସ୍ଥିତିରେ କଣ ସମ୍ଭବ existing situation ରେ କଣ ସମ୍ଭବ, କୋଉ ମଡେଲଟା କୋଉ ସିଚୁଏସନ ରେ କୋଉ କଣ୍ଟେକ୍ସଟ ରେ ଆମେ ଆପ୍ଲାଇ କରି ପାରିବା ଫର ଦି ପର୍ପଜ ଅଫ ଅପ୍ଟିମମ୍ ସଲ୍ୟୁସନ, ଏବଂ ତାର ସମାଧାନ ଆମେ କେମିତି ବାହାର କରି ପାରିବା ଫର ଦି ପର୍ପଜ ଅଫ ଇଫେକ୍ଟିଭ and efficient management of educational organization. ଯେ ଗୋଟିଏ educational organization ବା institution କୁ ସଫଳତାର ସହିତ, ଶ୍ରେଷ୍ଠତାର ସହିତ, ଇଫେକ୍ଟିଭ ଏଫିସିଏଣ୍ଟ ମାନରେ ଆମେ କେଉଁ ମଡେଲକୁ କେଉଁ କ୍ଷେତ୍ରରେ କେଉଁ ସମୟରେ କେଉଁ ସ୍ଥିତିରେ କେଉଁ ପରିସ୍ଥିତିରେ ଏବଂ କେଉଁ ଅନୁଷ୍ଠାନରେ ଆପ୍ଲାଇ କଲେ ଆମେ ସମସ୍ୟାର ସମାଧାନ ପାଇପାରିବା ଏବଂ ଇଫେକ୍ଟିଭ ଏଫିସିଏଣ୍ଟ ଆଉଟପୁଟ ବା ଗୁଡ ଆଉଟପୁଟ ମଧ୍ୟ ପାଇପାରିବା. that is really a challengeable for the every manager before applying all these above model. And for that reason we have to analyze it, we have to interpret it, and we have to think about the prevailing situation or the previous situation କଣ ଅଛି, and after observing the previous situation in what extent and how much and in what situation we are able to apply all these model, এবং what are the expected outcome of this model if you applied in the different field in a effective and efficient way for the purpose of management of educational organization. So last but not least, the practices followed or implemented in managing institution are situation and task specific, And this is last but most very important statement recommended according to the comparison of the all these above six model of educational management. It means the practices followed or implemented in managing institution are situation or task specific. That means whenever we are applying above all these six model, it is a situation specific, it is a environment specific, it is a context specific, it is a task specific, it is a goal specific, it is a purpose specific. We blindly cannot apply all the model into a specific situation or the specific context. We have to apply different model for the different situation, for the different organization, different institution, by taking the judicial decision and taking the observance of the prevailing situation. My dear students, so this is all about the six models of educational management. Hello? 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 Am I audible to all? Am I audible to all?
Yes, sir.
Okay. There is no response from your side. Is there any problem?
No, sir.
ଆରେ କିଛି ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମ ହଉଛି କି କିଛି କ୍ଲାଇମେଟ ର ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମ ବା ନିଜର ପର୍ସନାଲ ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମ କିଛି ହଉଛି କି? Okay, this was all about the six models of educational management. So in next class we'll discuss the another new concept. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your participation for the today's class. Thank you.
Hello? 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 Sir, I have some doubt from examination from. Hello? Hello, sir. Hello?